Baruch Hashem, it is day number 185 of our daily study of Rambam, Sefer, HaMitzvos. And in the 3 chapters a day of Mishnah Torah, we are continuing Hilchos Bechaydos, the laws of the firstborn livestock. We're in chapters 5, 6, and 7 of those laws. And our mitzvah today actually has nothing to do with Bechaydos, with firstborn livestock. It's a completely different mitzvah. However, I shouldn't say completely different, because the reason we're learning it today is because the Rambam chooses to teach us that mitzvah in the same section of halachas that teach us about the firstborn livestock. So what is this mitzvah that is not the firstborn, but the Rambam chooses to teach us this mitzvah when he is also teaching us the firstborn? Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Positive Commandment 78, Meiser Behema. Now, you're familiar with that word Meiser because we had a whole section in Sefer Zroim, the book of agriculture, called Meisreis, where we learned about the tithes. Meiser means tithe of the produce that were given to the Levium. In fact, we just mentioned it recently. Meiser Behema, Behema means animal, is the tithing of the livestock. So it's similar, like you have Bechaydos, which is the firstborn livestock, and then you have the Meiser Behema, which is the 10th of the new flock. The big difference is that, I think I mentioned this, Bechaydos, the firstborn, they automatically are sanctified upon their birth. They assume that status. Meiser Behema, the tithe, that requires human intervention. There's a whole process which the Rambam describes where you put the animals in a pen and you make an opening only big enough for one of them to run out at a time, and then you count them off as they leave the pen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, you mark the 10th, and that becomes the Meiser Behema, the tithe, and then it becomes sanctified, and it can only be a sacrifice from that point. Interestingly, this mitzvah technically applies in the land as well as outside of it, whether the temple is standing or not. And for that reason, the rabbis made an injunction not to do this. Do not put all your animals in a pen and count them off and sanctify the 10th. Why? Because you're going to create problems that way, because we don't have a Beis HaMikdash to bring that animal. And the only thing you can do with it at that point, once it's sanctified, is to bring it as a sacrifice. So until Mashiach comes, which should be immediately now, we do not do that mitzvah. But God willing, we'll be doing that mitzvah before we even see you for tomorrow's lesson, God willing.